Hi folks, thank you very much for joining us on TNT. It's Monday morning. Thanks for all those people that dropped in on the weekend and joined our community and had a chat with Nick and I. Thanks to the people that have been bidding on the elephants, these toy elephants built made by the charity Seeds of Change. We're raising money for Seeds of Change. Every single baht will go to the Seeds of Change of the people down there. You can read about that and the charity auction, which we're holding online. I think we've raised about 60,000 baht already. And as I said, every single cent baht going to Seeds of Change. And there's a link in the description if you'd like to find out how you can bid on these, well, a bit of a collectible, I suppose. There's only 30 of these toy elephants made from my old shirts. So you can check that out. And I think this Saturday we're going to be doing a whole program which will be auctioning what's left over of these toy elephants, if anything. Now, we're talking a bit about a bellwether seat, a poll held in a seat in Thailand, which really gives a very good indication as to what the mood of the country is at the moment, because the people that win this seat in the past have become the government. So we'll check that out. Also, a raid and a bit of a hassling of tourists over the weekend in Bangkok. One of the airlines in Thailand pulling out of some major routes, but a lot of that coming up. But we are going to start with our very wide-angled lens today. Let's move in just a little bit, and we'll go to the iPad. There it is. And The Nation, Thailand, reports that Navy installs air filtration machines throughout Bangkok. The Royal Thai Navy has installed 13 of these PM 2.5 filtration machines around the city to lower the level of fine dust in the air to a safe level. The Navy says the machines are built at its Naval Dockyard Department. They've been placed in 13 areas of the city that reported high levels of pollution in the past few days. And there they are. You can get a bit of an idea there. Now, just looking at the graphics they've used, I'm not sure if those people are falling from a building or what they're doing. Maybe they're just happy that the machines are being installed. Let's go on to more of this story. And each machine can filter 5 cubic meters of air per second. Lab results show that each machine can lower the PM 2.5 level in an area of 144 cubic meters to below 50 in about 30 minutes. The machines can also filter out most germs, bacteria, viruses, including COVID-19, as well as aromatic hydrocarbons. Well, there you are. There's a photo there. I suppose it puts the size of the machines into perspective. So in the past, they've had all sorts of other means. They've had drones flying around, spraying mist into the air, and those water pumps gushing water about 50 foot into the air, asking temples to stop burning incense and joss sticks. These look a little bit more realistic, but still it's just a tiny drop in the ocean. When the big elephant in the room is, of course, the agricultural fires blowing down from the north and the northeast. Let's go and check those out today. Well, starting in Bangkok, and a much, much better situation. You might even get the pollution control department saying, well, it's those machines that are doing it. But in fact, it's just a change of the weather, a bit more airflow around Bangkok, obviously improving the air quality. It's considered mostly moderate around Bangkok today, but up north it's still quite bad. Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai in the circles there. You can see those fires are around the border areas, particularly in Myanmar. And then as you head further south, you've got Koh Samui, Koh Phangan and Koh Tao there. And then you've got Phuket, Krabi down there with much improved air quality. Always going to be a little bit better down in the south than up in the north and northeast this time of the year. Let's go to our next story now. And from the Bangkok Post, a stricken Russian plane finally removed from a Phuket taxiway. This was an emergency that happened on Saturday night. Now, just going to this story, the photo there they've used, that I reckon that's about 20 years old. Anyway, moving on from that, let's go and see what happened. A Russian plane was finally removed from a taxiway at the Phuket airport after it broke down during a takeoff, forcing the cancellation of all flights from Saturday evening until early Sunday morning. Airport management said its air traffic controls spotted smoke from the right engine of the Boeing 767 as it attempted to take off from Moscow 4:30 on Saturday afternoon. After being informed of the smoke, The captain aborted the takeoff, and it took about 40 minutes to move the Azur plane to a taxiway intersection where it blocked other flights from landing or taking off. The subsequent repairs took until 12:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, when the plane was removed from the taxiway and allowing flights to resume. The incident affected 47 flights, with some circling over the airport, then landing at places like Krabi, Samui, Suvarnabhumi. The Air Azur flight was chartered for 309 passengers, also carried 12 crew members. So I did check that Azur Airlines Boeing 767 was built in 1988. That makes it about 35 years old. The whole Azur fleet are Boeings, some of them quite old. Now, we just go and have a look at some of these photos. That's more than just a bit of smoke coming out of the back of that engine there. And you can see, obviously, quite a lot of flames. Would have been very disturbing for the people on board that were looking out their windows trying to enjoy the takeoff. And it looks like we have to thank Igor at Zorov.com, whose photos were used there by some of the news services, but he was obviously the one taking the photos, and it looks like he took them through the fence there at the side of Phuket International Airport. Just happened to be there at the right time. With thanks to 5 Star Marine, who are our sponsors if you'd like to go on a boat trip, a private boat tour from Phuket to any of the islands. There's a link in the description of this video, and we've got plenty more coming up. Thank you for joining us on TNT for Monday. And if you haven't already done so and you're not a subscriber, it doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to send you emails, but it does really help the channel with the YouTube algorithm. So if you could just take a moment to scroll down and click that subscribe button, thank you very much. Now, Taste Atlas has decided to compile a list of the worst dishes in the world. And Thais were horrified to see that Keng Som has come in at number 12. We'll go through some of the others in just a moment. But what is Keng Som? Now, I did find a little link here. So Keng Som is a Thai Lao Malaysian sour curry, a sour and spicy fish curry or soup with vegetables, popular in Southeast Asia, characteristic for its sour taste, which comes from tamarind. The recipe uses palm sugar to sweeten the curry. Just looking at it, it's going to need quite a lot of help to make it palatable for me, but it has come in as one of the worst dishes in the world, and Thais are not happy about it. But then at number 39, the musk stick from Australia. And I was thinking to myself, what is a musk stick? Australia's contribution to the worst dishes of the world. Well, I did actually go and find out. The musk sticks are a popular confection in Australia, available with many suppliers. They consist of a semi-soft stick of fondant, usually pink. Musk sticks are fairy pink cylinders that resemble extruded toothpaste. So indeed, I did remember, I think I've consumed plenty of these musk sticks in the past. And somewhere in the world there is the Disgusting Food Museum. Well, it's in Sweden actually, and showcasing some of the world's worst, most revolting food, and musk sticks get voted in and displayed there at the Disgusting Food Museum in Sweden. So there you go. Thank you very much, Australia, for contributing to that list of the worst tasting food in the world, and Thailand reeling in shock at being included at number 19. To our next story today, and Bangkok Airways suspends the Bangkok Hat Yai and Bangkok Da Nang services. The Bangkok Airways have announced the suspension of their Hat Yai and Da Nang services from Bangkok, effective from March the 1st and May the 1st. And no reason was given for the suspension of the services. The airline says customers who have already made advanced bookings for flights on the two routes can request a refund in the form of either a travel voucher, which can be used to buy tickets on other airlines, or cash. So I don't think there's much more to that story other than those services that they'd reintroduced weren't doing well. And it's indicative that not just in Thailand, but in other parts of the world, the tourism recovery isn't even everywhere, and it's going to be lumpy. Some places are going to be more popular than others, and it'll take a while for us to figure out the new travel paradigm in this post-pandemic era. Anyway, that story about Bangkok Airways cancelling 2 of its flights. We now head into some politics, and from the nation Thailand, Thaksin's daughter wallops rivals in a poll of a bellwether province. So a bellwether province would be a province where the people that vote in that area indicate what's going to happen around the country in a forthcoming election. And the youngest daughter of the former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra emerged as the most popular choice as a candidate for Prime Minister by far among voters in the bellwether province of Korat, also known as Nakhon Ratchasima, about 3 hours northeast of Bangkok by car. And Pattongtarn Shinawatra, who is the youngest daughter of Thaksin Shinawatra, left the Move Forward Party leader Peter Limjaroenrat and the Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha in the dust, according to the NIDA survey. And the survey was carried out from January the 30th to February the 3rd amongst 1,500 eligible voters in the northeastern province. And Korat, with 16 constituencies, has the highest number of MPs after Bangkok, which has 33. And most importantly, the voters in Korat generally indicate how other voters in the northeast will vote. And the party that wins the northeast usually wins the election because the region is the most populous and has more constituencies than any other region. Well, that's actually been true for the past 20 years of elections. The people that win the northeast win the country because it's the most populous area. And she was selected by nearly 38% of respondents in the survey, more than 3 times the number of the other candidates. Peter was selected by about 12.4%, and Prayut, the current Prime Minister, and he's now standing as a candidate for the United Thai Nation Party, he was selected by only about 12% of those surveyed. And this one, I think, is the most important one to note here. Anatin Sharvirakun, who is the architect of the decriminalisation of cannabis and the botched attempt to try and get the legislation through Parliament. He represents the Bumjai Thai Party, also the Public Health Minister. He only got 3.47% of the vote. So I think the Bumjai Thai Party would be looking in that poll, scratching their head and thinking they've got quite a lot of work ahead of them if the Bumjai Thai Party are going to figure in the next election. I think they will, but that poll doesn't look particularly good for them. And then having a look at when asked which party they'd vote for, 48% said Pheu Thai, 13.8% Move Forward, then the Prime Minister's UTN party 8.5%, got Bumjai Thai Party, they're only 4.13%, then right down the bottom there, the ruling Palang Pracharat government, only 2.27% of the vote. So the political pundits will be poring over that poll over the next few days. Some interesting results, some of them not what some of the conservative leaders would be expecting. You're watching TNT as we move on to our next story today. And Bangkok is still sinking, and fast, according to this story in the Bangkok Post. Urban planning and city development are crucial for making the capital more climate resilient. Now, we would note that every time you get some heavy rain in Bangkok, or even up north and northeast, the water comes down the Chao Phraya and it floods into the city. And some of those floods have been getting worse in recent times. And if you have a concurrent flooding, heavy rains, and a high tide in the Gulf of Thailand, it causes a lot of problems. And some of those low-lying areas in Bangkok are getting more inundation every single year, and we know why. According to the annual Global Climate Risk Index, Thailand jumped from 43rd on the ranking of most affected countries by extreme weather back in 2011 to 9th in the latest edition. It's estimated the global mean sea level may soar up to 0.5 to 1 metre by the end of the 21st century, while in the longer term, the global mean sea level may reach over 6 metres over the next 2,000 years. A lot of people thinking, well, that's not going to bother me, I'm not going to be around. But it does show that in the immediate future, a city like Bangkok is going to have to sort out its flooding problems. And due to the grim prospect of sea levels rising in the future, a Professor Thanawat said Bangkok is apparently the most vulnerable area in Thailand, and the Chao Phraya Delta has an average elevation of only 1.5 metres above sea level. Considering the rise in sea levels in local water near Bangkok is about 1.2 centimetres a year, it's been reported over the past decade at around 1 to 2 centimetres each year. If nothing is done to protect Bangkok's shoreline, the waterline will slowly creep further inland by about 1.3 kilometres per year. Eventually, it's likely that most of Bangkok metropolitan area will sink beneath sea level within the next 100 years, and the Bangkok Metropolitan Authority plans to build a barrier system similar to the Thames barrier in London at the mouth of the Chao Phraya River to stem flows of seawater into the river. Meanwhile, the roads that run along the seashore will be elevated and have coastal dikes to protect the city from surging sea levels. Obviously, this is major infrastructure and will involve the national government to help fund some of these mitigations. But Bangkok is sinking, and every year we report it, and I've been doing that for about 12 years. I mean, we're reporting more areas every year and the flooding just getting worse. So it's a real thing. So is this a real thing? Reported by Coconuts Bangkok, cops swarmed the RCA nightclub in search of Macau 888 links and to hassle tourists. Now, the whole Macau 888 thing I'll discuss during this week, but I'm not going to go into that in detail. But it's an online scam, and police are trying to track down the people behind it. And Coconuts Bangkok reports that dozens of police officers stormed a popular nightlife district that Saturday night, where they harassed tourists, according to Coconuts Bangkok, and revellers in the name of seeking evidence linking the venue to an online gambling money laundering operation. And police told reporters at the scene that they were attempting to find evidence that would link the club to an online gambling operation called Macau 888 and operated by a criminal syndicate known as the Four Brothers. And police said, "We've got arrest warrants for 13 people. The people in question are known to hang around and meet in the venue and launder money here. They might be shareholders." Among the ranks of officers outside the venue were cybercrime cops, 191 emergency police, immigration police, and narcotics officers. Tourists were also targeted during the raid. Police asked club patrons over the megaphone to exit Onyx via 2 lines. They asked tourists to provide ID in order to determine whether they'd overstayed their visa. 4th paragraph down there, a line was formed outside for tourists who were then searched for drugs and forced to submit for urine tests. Police also found that several patrons did not carry passports. In recent days, the police have been pursuing leads about the Thai nationals behind the so-called Macau 888 ring after a celebrity went public about its operation. So police there in the focus again in that coconuts.co story, and given their behaviour at checkpoints, that's Dina, she's come to say goodbye as well, but given their behaviour at checkpoints around Bangkok and Pattaya in recent weeks, there is going to be a lot more focus on the police in the future. Just be careful about which buttons you're pressing, okay? But from me and Dina, thanks for watching today. Hopefully you get an opportunity to subscribe to the channel. We've got our online auction for these toy elephants. You can't get Dina. And there's a link in the description as well if you'd like to avail yourself of one of these 30 toy elephants put together by the charity Seeds of Change. Thanks for watching today, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.